Scrooge is ready to search for some rare and valuable treasure in today's game, Treasure of Tarmin, for your Intellivision. Let's go ahead and take Treasure of Tarmin. Let's pop it in my Intellivision and see how it holds up today. Let's go to the game. Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Treasure of Tarmin was published by Mattel and carries a copyright year of 1983. It was the second and final official Advanced Dungeons & Dragons game published for the system. Treasure of Tarmin was programmed by Tom Lowry, who would later program Worm Whomper for the Intellivision, which I reviewed in episode 460. I'll put a link to that review in the description below. The manual opens with the following. The dreaded Minotaur and his monster companions built a complicated system of mazes and dungeons in the island of Tarmin to hide and protect the great treasure of Dark Ages. Along with other stolen riches, they took objects of spiritual powers and lethal weapons. Now the castle, with its ghastly occupants and fiercely guarded treasures, have lured you in. You begin your journey wondering whether you'll ever make it to the end. Alone in a deep web of endless rooms and corridors, you move on with a bow, a quiver of arrows, a sack of flour, and an empty pack toward deeper pathways, beyond which the Tarmin treasure can be found. Yet you know the devouring Minotaur awaits you at the end of your quest. You proceed cautiously through ill-omened gates and ladders, and even hidden doors. You bump into all kinds of combat and spiritual objects, some of which give you strange powers when collected and then used. Your pack can only contain up to 6 objects, your hands too, but they can be swapped around and used in the best possible ways, so it's up to you to outsmart the evil forces and grab the loot. Treasure of Tarmin is an early RPG dungeon crawler for one player only. The game has 4 levels of difficulty. Pressing 3 will give you the easiest game, 2 for easy, 1 for medium, and the disc for hard. The difficulty setting will determine the minimum number of mazes needed to reach the Minotaur, as well as what you start out with, both in strength, food, arrows, and vulnerability. According to the manual, a game can last anywhere from 5 minutes to 5 hours. The manual came with an overlay that is extremely helpful learning the game when you first start playing it. You press the upper side buttons to see a castle map, the lower left side button to count food with clicks, the lower right side button to count your arrows also with clicks. The disc is used to move forward, turn left, and to turn right. Pressing down does nothing. The first row of buttons is used to pick up objects with your right hand. If you have an object in your hand, that object will be put on the ground when you pick up another. You can also swap objects between your right and left hands and rotate your pack on the left. There's also a button in the second row to open objects in front of you, to use objects such as using a key in your hand on a locked chest in front of you, and to swap items from your right hand to the item in the 3 o'clock position in your pack. The third row is used to attack a monster, to rest, using food to regain energy, or to use a ladder in front of you. The bottom row is used to glance left or right, or to take a step back, or to attempt to retreat in a battle. However, when you retreat, the monster you are facing will get a free shot at you. On the castle map screen, the flashing white dot represents yourself, and the Treasure of Tarmin is shown by a yellow chest. The bottom of your screen is loaded with information. From left to right, you have a compass, which surrounding it is items in your pack. Then you are shown what is in your left hand, what level you are currently on, and what is in your right hand. On the right side is a number of statistics. The top 2 numbers show both your war strength followed by your spiritual strength. If either of these reach 0, your game will end, although if you've made enough progress, you will be reincarnated, albeit without the items in your pack, and losing some of your statistics. The second set of numbers shows your armor defense followed by your ring defense. Your final set of numbers shows your war weapon strength followed by your spiritual weapon strength. All the action takes place in 12 by 12 square mazes. Surrounding the maze is a hallway featuring eyeball murals. Their colors indicate what type of maze you are in. Dark green means you are in a war type maze, blue a spiritual type maze, and tan a mixed type maze. The hallway surrounds 4 randomly selected rooms pieced together to make a giant maze. Within these rooms you will find several doors that you can open, and sometimes there are hidden doors as well, or magical doors you have to attack in order to proceed. You will also find various objects on the ground as well that you can pick up, and sometimes in the hallways you can also find gates. Going through a gate will send you to an adjacent maze, but it might change your statistics. Green gates will make you more warlike, blue gates will make you more spiritual, and tan gates will not change you at all. Throughout the maze, you will also find monsters. Monsters will tend to either attack your war score or your spiritual score. In the back of the manual is listed some bad monsters, which only use spiritual weapons affecting your spiritual score, nasty monsters that will only use war weapons affecting your war score, and horrible monsters that can attack either your war or spiritual score. The manual also shows the various colors these monsters can come in, with different colors meaning different difficulties. In total, you could descend 256 levels, after which you will go back to the first level. The deeper down you go, the tougher the monsters. Action takes place in a turn-based style, although if you're quick enough, you can get the first attack in yourself. You attack with the weapon in your right hand. Similar to monsters, the weapons you can find in the game are found in the back of the manual, and their color indicates their power. War weapons attack the war score of a monster. Bows and crossbows can be used repeatedly as long as you have enough arrows, however they may break from time to time. Other war weapons like knives, axes, and darts can only be used one time apiece. Spiritual weapons attack the monster's spiritual score. Scrolls and books are reusable, but they might break, while fireballs and bolts are single use only. When battling, the monster's strength will be shown where the level number was. Blue numbers represents the monster's spiritual score. Green numbers represents his war score. When you heal after battles by eating food, it is possible for your war score and or spiritual score maximums to increase from your previous battle experiences. Throughout the maze, you can also find quivers to gain more arrows and bags of flour to add to your food. There's also armor you can find in the game, with different colors meaning different power. Shields must be held in your left hand, while other items like gauntlets and helmets are automatically put on. There's also some rings you can find to help protect you from spiritual weapons. Like several of your pieces of armor, they are automatically put on. In the mazes, you can find various things you can open to get their contents out, including money belts, small bags, boxes that are locked and need a key to open, packs which are also locked, large bags, and chests which also need a key to open. Some containers may contain bombs which will hurt you when they blow up. Better containers can have more powerful bombs in them. Similar to everything else in the game, the color of the container can indicate how good the contents are. Containers will often contain treasure which will be added to your final score. You also can find keys and various books and potions that have different properties. You win the game by defeating the Minotaur and grabbing his treasure. When your game ends, a treasure score is shown on the right-hand side. Some players purposely skip the Minotaur to go deeper into the maze and to find more treasure to add to the score, but be advised, extra Minotaurs will show up in the deeper portions of the maze. Graphically speaking, even though you might get tired of the green walls, the game features an impressive number of items and enemies, as well as a solid 3D dungeon feel. The game is mostly silent, which kind of adds to the atmosphere, as the enemy growls are well done in my humble opinion. And by the way, if there's an enemy beside you, he can attack, so always know what's going on. Family friendly wise, the game features fantasy battling with use of magical items, and most likely would get an E for everyone rating if released today. Currently at pricecharting.com, the game has a value of $10 loose, $16 complete, and $20 new. So what do I think of Treasure of Tarmin? This is an incredible technical achievement, not only for the Intellivision, but for any system of its time. The 3D perspective, enemy sprites, and sheer size of the game are all very impressive. However, the size of the game can also be a drawback since you cannot save your game. This, of course, can lead to some frustration when you die after a long journey and you need to build yourself back up again. And on the higher difficulties, you'll either need a nice chunk of time or you'll have to leave your system on if you need to step away. The controls are also just a little bit clunky. Sometimes when I tried to turn to the left or the right, I heard the click telling me the controller received the button press, but I didn't turn. And you will constantly have to juggle around items when picking up something. This can be a little tedious. There were also times that I got lost in the various rooms, but at least the hallways helped me gain some sense of where I was. But with all that being said, this is still a very fun title, especially for early RPG fans. There's a lot to discover in the game and plenty of challenge. And even though the controls aren't the easiest to get a hold of, they actually work pretty well in the end. And the fact that the game randomizes every time you play really helps the replayability, even if you only play the easier settings. So where am I going to rank Treasure of Tarmin? This is going in my top 5, right next to the first D&D game, Cloudy Mountain. Now, personally, I like Cloudy Mountain just a little bit more since it's easier to pick up and play, especially if I don't have a lot of time to spare. However, I could easily understand why other players would prefer Treasure of Tarmin. So out of the 49 games I've now ranked for the Intellivision, Treasure of Tarmin is looking for treasure in the 4 position. Treasure of Tarmin is a technical masterpiece on the Intellivision and is recommended for any early RPG fan who has some time on their hands. But that's just my opinion. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Also, please like, share, and subscribe. Follow me both on the Facebook and the Twitter. Click the bell so you don't miss any future videos. And sign up at patreon.com/NoSwearGamer, just like Marvelous Mark S., Jeering Jeremy L., Judge Johnny P., and Jumpin' Jim L. did, who all nominated today's game, to support the show and gain access to exclusive perks. Thank you for giving me a little part of your day, and I look forward to seeing you next time on the next episode of the No Swear Gamer. Take care, and always make sure you have enough food in your backpack and arrows in your quiver.